Hi, it's Dale again. Okay, silver. What's this video about? Well, I don't make videos that just give you generic information or, leave you feeling like you just have to go off and, figure it out yourself. I give you specifics. So, let's get started on discussing why I think silver is the best investment you can make today. It's my advice that every American should own at least 1,000 ounces of silver and have it stored in their home. What I buy are 1 ounce silver American Eagles. I get them from goldeneagle.com, but you can get them pretty much anywhere. There's a scarcity of silver to the quadrillions in derivatives of money that does not exist, which is why the government and two big failed banks will not let the US dollar value of silver take off like it should in order to make the US dollar appear strong as the world reserve currency. What's a derivative? A derivative is a contract between a buyer and a seller whose value is determined by the underlying value of the currency, in this case the US dollar, which is basically a fiat currency Ponzi scheme, but we'll get to that in a second. So basically the derivatives are just empty money. Metal-backed currencies have ruled the world for over 4,000 years and will continue to do so. Every time a government has removed the metal backing of a currency, it turns the economy into a fiat currency Ponzi scheme that is 100% mathematically certain to fail, and has done so time and time again for over 4,000 years. People need a metal-backed currency to feel a sense of fairness in their lives. In 1971, Richard Nixon removed the gold backing of the US dollar. As the world reserve currency, he effectively turned the entire world's economy into a Ponzi scheme, which will fail in our lifetime. I am not a savant, I am just saying that history repeats itself over and over. The US dollar has been the world reserve currency since 1944. The next crisis will be a financial crisis, but this time it will be global. The reason the US dollar survived so long and avoided this global financial crisis is that the US exports its inflation. It's estimated that 65% of the US dollars are outside the United States, and that 85% of the forex trading involves the US dollar. The last crisis we had was fixed by a $16 trillion bailout that mostly went to foreign banks, not our pockets. The next crisis will be a bail-in, as everyone that opens a checking account freely signs that they accept that they are the unsecured creditors to the banks. So the bank fails, everyone's checking account is fair game and will be used to save it. Did you know that? When a government changes from an unbacked metal currency system to a metal-backed currency system, there is an explosion in the transfer of wealth that occurs to the holders of metals. That is why I wait for not a dollar sign amount increase in the value, as it does not reflect the intrinsic value of silver. A day will come where, say, 200 ounces of silver will be able to purchase a medium-sized house in the US or more. I don't care what the dollar sign value is. The current value is almost the same as what it costs to pull it out of the ground, so going much lower, I don't see happening. The US government is already subconsciously preparing the public for this transition to a switch to a metal-backed currency. Notice the back of the $100 bill and how it now has a bright gold 100 on it? The switch is coming soon. Typically, fiat currencies last about 30 to 40 years. 1971 was over 30, 40 years ago. So it's about that time. It's going to happen in our lifetime. I also now like cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. However, I do not think they will become the next world reserve currency, as the International Monetary Fund does not have a way to control it. I believe it will be the Chinese yuan. And guess what? They are loading up on metals like crazy. Yet as a short-term investment, I'm starting to like Bitcoin also. Well, actually, I think Bitcoin will go to zero, though, because of the limited number of transactions it can handle. Hence the reason for the hard fork towards Bitcoin Cash, which can handle 8 times the number of transactions of Bitcoin. The best book I've ever read on silver is The Silver Bomb by Michael McDonald and Christopher Whitestone. You can get it at Amazon for, it was $13.95. It explains all the history, explains the end of the paper wealth is upon us, and it makes a case for $500 silver. We'll see if that happens. I expect it will be more than that. Another great reference, that you can look into is the Silver Bullet and the Silver Shield. It's a website designed by Chris Dwayne. He has lots of good information. Mike Maloney at goldsilver.com has a wealth of information as well. So why is the price of silver so low? Well, two reasons. One, big banks like, say, JP Morgan or whatever, they will electronically sell and buy the entire year's worth of mining supply of silver within 5 minutes, back and forth. Say 700 million ounces, just like that, within 30 seconds. So it makes silver seem like it's abundant, and so, there's no worries, so the price doesn't increase. That's one reason. Second reason, well, a lot of people who want to buy silver, well, they don't buy physical silver. They go to their advisor, investor, whatever, and they buy things like ETFs or paper silver or whatever. Or even if they have it stored somewhere, it's in like, allocated storage or something where it's kind of yours, but if you want it, you have to order it, and if the vault doesn't have it, which they may not, they'll have to go out and buy it just to get it to you. So when a crisis happens or something, where you need the silver, they're gonna have to go out and buy it to get it to you, and it's gonna kind of be like a first come first served basis. So if you buy ETFs or pay for silver or whatever, well, they do a little scheme where they basically sell 100 ounces of paper silver for every 1 physical ounce of silver in existence. Somehow that's legal. I don't know how, but it is. So you need to have it in your house. If you don't own it, no, that's what it's saying. How's the saying go? If you don't hold it in your hand, you don't own it. So that's my advice. Everybody should have at least 1,000 ounces of silver in their house. I like 1 ounce American Gold Eagles. You can get a monster box of 500 ounces for maybe around $10,000 right now. Your grandkids will kick you if you don't buy silver now while it's dirt cheap. It's the best time in the world to be investing in metals, especially silver. Not gold. Gold just sits there and looks pretty. The U.S. government has a stockpile of, say, 5 billion ounces of gold and 5 billion ounces of silver in 1950. Now they still have the same, stockpile of gold, but they've had to dump the silver into the market to make up for the mining shortage every single year. Well, now the U.S. has run out of silver, and there's over 10,000 uses, 10,000 industrial uses for silver. So the price is just going to go up. And when there's a shortage, silver's in everything. Cell phones, computers, Apple computers. You think Apple's just going to go throw their hands up in the air and go, oh, we can't make any more computers because there's a shortage of silver? No, they're going to buy the silver in tons. They're going to pass the cost on to you. You think a customer is going to buy an Apple computer for $900, but if the cost of silver the cost of the computer to go up to $1,000, the customer's going to throw their hands up in the air and go, oh, I can't buy that computer. No, they're going to shell out the extra $100 and buy the computer. Apple might even advertise that it has, such and such amount of silver in it. So that's my advice. Buy some silver. Thanks. Bye.